brought us back into life yesterday here at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. And what a way to get the road to MotoGP rolling once again for our junior Asian and Oceanic competitors. It was Tayo Furusato who demolished the field by over 16 seconds across the finish line, well and truly making amends for the disappointment of last year, losing out both times despite coming out in the final corner in first position. No such problems this time around though, no one would have passed him on the line even on a full factory MotoGP bike. But while the action for first was a bit more sedate than we're used to here in Qatar, the battles behind to fill out the podium raged on between another Japanese talent, Gun Mie, and rising Malaysian star, Hakim Danish, ending up in a photo finish for second place. Well, it's now Sunday the 28th of March. It's substantially cooler than yesterday, but with a fierce headwind down the start and finish straight, who's done their homework? Let's get it going. Round one, race two in the Asia Talent Cup. Well, good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon here. 1:41 local time. Matt Dunn bringing you here the commentary with Fran Wild alongside me as ever for race two. And as I mentioned in that intro, which I surprised myself with how timed the guys managed to do that. That was brilliant. Thanks, guys. It's incredibly windy out on track and also bearable walking in the circuit, which, Fran, makes all the difference in our commentary preparation.
Yes, most definitely. We're the ones suffering here.
Quite.
It is very windy, as you can see from these shots, especially the flags. There's quite a few flags as well outside our hotels, in fact, outside most hotels in Qatar. That's when you get a real perspective of it, and also the camera look, you can see.
Crikey.
A little bit windy out there. It seems a little bit better than when I certainly arrived at the track, which by now was about an hour ago, an hour and a half-ish maybe. It seems to be a little bit better, but yeah, it'll certainly be an extra challenge for these guys on their Honda Moto 3 machines. Probably a little bit different for the big guns later on, but certainly on little bikes they're going to feel that breeze is maybe a little bit kind of a word for it. They're going to feel that wind for sure.
Yeah, all be very, very careful down the start and finish straight heading into turn one. However, I'm pretty sure, judged by the direction of the flag waving, that's actually a direct headwind facing them as they go down the start and finish straight. So I suppose I won't even need to use the brakes. They'll just sit up and let the wind do its thing.
Yeah, I think you could see from the billow of that shirt there from that mechanic, it seemed to be going very much, against the direction they'll be riding. And you see Hakim Danish here second on the grid. He's seems to be squinting a little bit in that light as well. Could also, in the wind, could also be the sunlight. That's what I was going to say. It is pretty bright out still. It's a really nice day. It's just that wind. And yeah, so they've got that to contend with. And like you mentioned in the intro as well, significantly cooler today, although still no wintertime kind of European stuff. Still very much desert Qatar, so it's nice.
Yeah, the other thing that it brings with it, of course, is the dust and the sand from the atmosphere blowing across the circuit. What will that do to the grip levels for these guys as they head out for the race? Same grid as yesterday if you didn't join us. If you didn't join us, please stop this. Don't watch this right now. Go onto the Asia Talent Cup YouTube channel. Go watch race one wherever you are, and then come back to this one. Watch it on demand or something like that.
Just giving away all our live viewers. I see how it is.
Quite exactly. This is one of the riders who will be hoping to make a huge amends after yesterday, although it wasn't quite his fault. Rei Wakamatsu wiped out by, well, the man who starts on third on the grid today, Fadila Aditama, the Indonesian rider.
Yeah, it was really bad luck for Wakamatsu yesterday. It was Aditama's crash solely, just a front-end washout for him, and then collected Rei Wakamatsu on the outside. So yeah, bad luck, and I think also two to watch in race trim, because Aditama did win the race simulation in the test, and he was pretty quick in testing as well. But what about this guy as well?
Yes, Daniel Sharil returning to action some 18 months on after a horrendous injury at the final round of the 2018 Asia Talent Cup, a badly broken leg. And one of the main worries on his mind, I suppose, during that period of recovery would have been, how fast am I still on in a race? And well, he proved it, fighting fourth. Didn't end up there though. That mantra went to this man here, Carter Thompson, the pocket rocket from Australia, down under, taking that fourth position yesterday. Superb result for him. Daniel actually finished in seventh place in the last spot, as it were, in that little quadrant groupetta.
Wow, that's some nice words. Yeah, it was
Coffee's
a good
been
fight
down.
for fourth, though. That battle was really entertaining. And yeah, Danielle Sharil, we should say, losing out a little bit in that. But yeah, I think those guys can be pretty happy with their performance yesterday and looking for a bit more today as well. And Masaya Hongo is another who'll be looking for a little bit more after he jumped the start yesterday. So
two long lap penalties.
Yeah, it sounds brutal when you say it now, but think back to when it used to be a ride through automatically.
Yeah, and especially at this pit lane here. I mean, that is a long old pit lane.
Yeah, it's a nice little tour of Losail if you have to do a ride through. So good news for him, at least he was able to get back in that battle and completed race distance, but I'm sure he'll be a little bit more cautious off the line today and not try and anticipate that, or maybe not try to anticipate it, but just let those nerves get the better of him a little bit.
That was Gun Mie on your screens just there, who took second place in that photo finish from Hakim Danish. That was a cracking little battle for second place in the end. We did wonder whether they were going to get reeled in by the pursuing quartet, but that was not to be. Those guys just getting in each other's way far too much over a number of laps, just letting those two get away.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a single thousandth.
Wow.
Which is the minimum gap we can register on our timing.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So,
then.
you know, it was really as close as it could possibly have been, as was the battle for fourth. Thompson was only a single thousandth ahead over the line for that as well.
From Sharil.
Yeah,
no
it
less.
was really close for those two guys, but Furusato at the front had no such small gap troubles. But here we have a look at the grid then. It's the same as yesterday, of course, and yeah, I think I'm excited to see this race now, especially after what we saw yesterday. Some intriguing stuff throughout the field, and yeah, mainly I'm intrigued to see if Furusato can do it again.
Yeah, we're so used to hearing Qatar, the second race of the event, it tends to be a completely different result altogether. The leading, if there was a runaway duo or something like that in the first race, you tend to find the second one there's a big old leading group. But that lead from Furusato yesterday, 16 seconds, that's over a second per lap quicker than everybody else in the field. Absolutely astonishing stuff. Can they actually close down that sort of gap? There he is on your screens right now.
Yeah, it was a really impressive performance, and of course aided by his start as well. He got a really good start from pole, and Hakim Danish is in second. He bogged down, yeah, pretty much the opposite story for the young Malaysian, sadly, and left himself with some work to do. But work he did. He got right back in there. He worked his way back into that fight for second and impressed. Maybe if he is on Furusato's tail from the off, maybe he has got a little bit more in the locker. We'll have to see. And Aditama, of course, on the front row, another where it didn't quite go right. It was all right off the line, but then obviously quite early in the race had that front end washout and collected Wakamatsu. Another one, maybe if the cards fall a little differently second time round, we'll see a bit of a different race.
Could well do. That would be really great stuff. That is Fadila Aditama, the Indonesian rider, hoping, well, just to finish this one perhaps, that overly ambitious move on Wakamatsu, the number 2, did not work out as planned or whatsoever. You can see from the dust of the riders spitting up from their rear and front tyres that the conditions are substantially different today, although I suppose in some respects I'll be quite glad not to be racing in 38 degrees Celsius. In old money, that's 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Wink wink, American viewers out there in the world.
And Liberia, please,
and
be
Liberia,
global.
yes, so they'll be pretty glad about that.
Yeah, it's that's going to be another big factor, of course, but I don't know. I wonder if we're looking at it from a very British perspective there. Maybe they're completely used to it.
Or general lack of fitness compared to professional athletes perspective.
Also, yeah, you know, we're quite different people in a number of ways, really. But no, it is definitely, I'm sure, a little bit more comfortable on the bike, certainly temperature-wise. That wind, not so sure, but we will find out in today's race.
Yes, the championship graphics on there, I don't think that's quite right, because that would indicate we've had 2 races so far this year, so ignore that one. The championship standings thus far were yesterday's race result for Furusato.
Yeah, that's what distracted
Danish,
me, and
Thompson.
I think I just finished the sentence with 2 random words.
Yeah, very strange. But warm-up lap coming on here. It's a very long warm-up lap, 14 laps to go of racing. And yeah, well, 27 degrees Celsius out on track, but with that wind factor, it feels distinctively cooler. Pleased to report it was not a sweaty affair walking into the paddock this morning from all our bus shuttles. That is fantastic news for everybody.
I even had a jacket on.
Yes, I did too.
Like, I'm a person who has the aircon. If I am in my own room in a hot climate, I'll literally have it on like 17 when I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Which I know, you know, people say that's incredibly Arctic, but I'm just that person.
Yeah.
And even I managed a jacket.
Quite. It is a real substantial difference. So plenty of riders going a bit, oh my goodness, are we in Phillip Island? I've not even seen a seagull in Qatar before. Where has that come from?
Yeah,
How
I haven't
bizarre.
either. That was a nice little...
Is he lost on a migration? I hope some ornithologists among you out there keeping an eye on that. And I've just seen the first reported sighting of a seagull in Qatar ever. Who knows?
I think that's
back to the
likely
racing.
that happened in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup race too, live on TV.
Well, here we are, round the final corner then, about to line up on the grid. Most riders who perhaps didn't get the start that they wanted yesterday, hopefully done some homework overnight. That goes for the riders who were too quick off the line, such as Hongo, and those who weren't quick enough, such as Hakim Danish. And what about for Rosato? Well, if he just basically mimics what he did yesterday, he'll be shooing for a double victory here in Qatar. You can see from the flag then, I'm surprised it's not being blown off the wooden pole.
Looks like a bit of effort.
The revs will very, very shortly go up. The man with the red flag will depart from the grid and we'll get ready for this second race of the 2021 campaign. The road to MotoGP continues in the Asia Talent Cup. The lights come on and they go off again. And Hakim Danish, well, that was better than yesterday for Rosato. A good start from him as well. And Aditama, well, that was a pretty class start. But Danish has managed to hold on to that second place. So homework completed. A-star effort for you in your GCSEs, young man. All safely through turn one, and it looks like for Rosato a couple of bike legs already, but this is not quite the lead he had by this time already.
Yeah, it's not yesterday. He was already almost incredible distance ahead of the rest, but yeah, these guys right on his tail now, and much better start from Danish, and looking a bit feisty already. I'm sure they'll be keen to try and attack very early, and that's Daniel Sharil already up there and battling, but maybe a little bit wide
very,
there.
Very wide indeed.
And Malaysia on Malaysia there, no quarter given.
No.
But yeah, good start from everyone then, it seems, today. And yeah, we've got a bit of a different race.
Yes, could well have, although for Rosato in those couple of corners just managed to head out a bit more of a gap. That was a moment there for Sharil coming out of turn 6. That's where the long lap penalty lane is. And you notice how wide he went at turns 4 and 5. You can't go too wide onto the green because, especially with these small capacity Moto3 bikes, that's like the rumble strip. It's basically a supercross whoop section, and you haven't got anywhere near the like of travel as you do on a motocross bike. Now, let's keep an eye on this then. It is Sharil, Danish, Mie and Hamada there in front of Thompson, although I think Thompson actually just, well, I can actually see him there just behind them, is he? Yes, he is.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a switcheroo there.
So Hamada on the back of this one. Got to keep for Rosato in check, that is key, but I think they could well be in striking distance down the front straight this time around, although it's getting a bit hairy now.
It is, yeah, and we saw maybe 3-4 little, nothing too major, but 3 or 4 little moments for Daniel Sharil on that lap. Not just a wobble, but a couple of just little twitches.
Yeah,
he's obviously
could be the wind. Who was that? Number 12 in the background having a huge moment. That was Nicholas, the rookie.
Yeah, so it's obviously, a bit of a different challenge today to yesterday, but Daniel Sharil obviously just decided, I am going to push and I'm going to see where I arrive. None of the tactics in the battle of yesterday.
Well, now this is a big test then. Down on the front straight with that headwind. What will that do to Rosato? Will there be any slipstream effect aiding the guys behind him, chasing him down? Let's see. Sharil across the line in second place, or is it? No, it's Danish who will cross the line. I think, nope, not quite. Basically neck and neck. And look at the slipstream effect. It looks like Hamada could be getting the inside line. No, it's Gun Mie in second place as we head on to lap 2. Did they chase down for Rosato much? 0.7 across the line. Much better this time around.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And Gun Mie and Kanta Hamada both have good form here at Qatar. Sharil, if he's just pushing a little bit too much and they can see him having those twitches, maybe he's not the best guy to be leading that chase and just can tuck in behind these Japanese guys who've got some good form. And yeah, they've really made some good gains. So for Rosato, Sato, not quite the same story as yesterday, and look, that gap has come down a little bit in the first split.
Well, that is very, very good news for his chase. You can see the graphic on the left of your screen there. Gun Mie improved 6 places on that first lap. Hamada 8. So that was a real cracking start by the pair of Japanese riders. Hamada, of course, a winner here last year in Qatar in that very first race of the 2020 series. Couldn't quite back it up in the second one that time around, because it's like these different stories that we're getting used to now. These guys learn so much overnight. They really clearly do their homework.
Yeah, they really do. And obviously with a whole race distance under their belt, there's so much more to pour through in terms of data. And yeah, they get a lot more than just a place to race in the ATC. It includes rider coaching and everything else to really, you know, learn what they need to know to move on the road to MotoGP. But this from Hamada, like we said, that graphic showing it was 8 places up from his grid position. That's really, really good, because I expected a bit more from him so far in 2021. Is a little bit sort of down from where we'd expect him to be in testing as well, and then yesterday he was up there, but you know, last year, like we said, he was first in the first race and then was second in the second as well. So he was first in the classification before the Cup sadly got cancelled. But we can see that gap then, it goes up at times and then comes back down again. It's now half a second, so it's going to be interesting, like you say, with that slipstream. Yeah, let's see what happens coming out of this final corner then. It's Japanese 1, 2, 3 at the moment, but will there be any change by the time we reach that first corner? Sharil and Danish, the Malaysian duo, both in the slipstream of the Japanese duo, as well as they come towards the start and finish line. 13 laps to go, down to 12 laps to go. Who set the fast lap of the race? It was Hamada, actually, who set the fastest lap there. As Daniel Sharil heads into the corner. Was he in first position there? I just got very confused looking at the timing screen there. I think he made it through. Yes, he did.
Second place for him. So what's the gap this time around? 6.5 tenths from Furusato back to Mie. So they're keeping him in check, but I'm surprised they couldn't catch him more down the start and finish straight whilst he's out there on his own. Yeah, especially because obviously he's just heading into that headwind by himself. But these guys, if they're all messing about trying to switch position, that's not going to play into their hands either. But it's the guys behind this quartet who are probably gaining a little bit more, because they're all spreading out and really creating a nice buffer for who is it on the chase there just behind them. That's Aditama. Yeah, so that would be a nice little bit of clear air for him to try and make some gains on the main straight, I imagine. Someone I'm surprised we're not seeing up in this leading group is Rei Wakamatsu, who was absolutely livid after being wiped out by Aditama in the race yesterday. Looks like a fairly strong competitor, possible podium finisher, but at the moment down in 10th place behind Honga. Yeah, probably expected a little bit more, but remember, of course, he's not had quite the same track time as the others. Neither has Aditama, but Aditama did have a little bit more in hand in the test and in the race simulation. So, you know, it's a little bit interesting how these things play out. But at the moment, yeah, Wakamatsu will probably want more than that. So we'll have to keep an eye, see if we can make some progress. So the gap as they came over the line previously was 1 second. What about these splits then? The last second split, it was 1 second from Furusato down to 9 tenths in this third sector. So clearly something Furusato is doing in that second sector isn't quite good enough in comparison to his pursuing riders there. Sharil leading this little quartet then. So Sharil, Mie, Hamada and Danish are now the quartet today. Yeah, it looks like as well at points on the track, Gun Mie especially looking very impatient behind Daniel Sharil. But like we saw last time when the 2 Japanese riders were leading this foursome, they were the ones to lose out in the slipstream. And then into turn 1, is that Aditama? I think it is. The number 3 with the unmistakable green helmet. So he's down. It's absolute disaster for him at this first round. Look at that, 4 abreast as they come down towards turn 1. Pretty much no brakes for that headwind, just stick up, you're out the bubble, and it's Sharil down into turn 1. But 1.2 the gap to Furusato this time around. Yeah, he's really got the hammer down now. And yeah, that's really bad news for Fadila Aditama. You can see he's gutted. Yeah. I mean, obviously up and okay is the main thing we look for first, but bit of a heartbreaker that. Some good news, he gets to try again next weekend. And 2 more races then. But yeah, certainly in terms of points he'd be disappointed, but also just because he's had such great pace in testing and in that race simulation. Yeah, it's going to be a few difficult nights sleep for him before we get into the second race weekend here in Qatar. And a very bizarre crash. Looking at the camera angle, he must have lost it quite early. Yeah, it wasn't the normal shuffle out of shot, was it? No. Like all the way to the right-hand side. This is getting a little bit feisty now, isn't it? Always having a look as well. That's something, well, of course, we didn't actually see him much on camera yesterday. But we didn't see him do that on camera at all. Yeah, so you must be aware, okay, maybe today it's not going to be 16.6 seconds. But that gap is going up and up and up in one single sector. He's pulled out a quarter of a second on the guys behind him, so they are losing track a little bit, but the good news is at least they can fight for second place if he does get away.
Yeah, it's all is not completely lost, is it, when you're in the fight for the podium? It could be a lot worse, but yeah, they must, I don't know, it's hard to judge how your emotion's going to be when you're fighting it out here, and if you think you've got the pace, as I'm sure they all do, you're like, oh, this guy needs to get out of my way, let's go. We often see them tap in the back of the seat unit, like, come on guys, follow me. No one ever listens, but it does seem like if they could just stop chopping and changing a little bit more, they'd have a bit more chance, because they're not losing huge chunks like they were yesterday. So if they could just get their head down, maybe work together a little bit more, Furusato wouldn't be making such gains.
The other interesting factor here is, will this force him here become, well, what is it when you get 8 riders and the other one joining on? Because actually Carter Thompson leading the second quartet behind the battle for second place. You can see them in the back of shot there. He is with Hongo, Sharul and Ray Wakamatsu. 3 other very quick riders, and of course Thompson getting that 4th place yesterday. Can be very much a tale of two halves these Asian Talent Cup races. I remember before we've had experiences where you've had one small group of riders separated from the others, and by the time the second half of the race comes around, well, they're a huge group again.
Yeah, 15 rider train again. Yeah, it does change quite a lot more than you maybe expect to see, especially in the likes of MotoGP. But another fastest lap there you see from Furusato, and last time around he was 7/10 quicker than Mie, who was the next rider over the line, certainly, although he is in this group rather than leading it too comfortably. Although, having said that, he's going for it. Yep, there we go. Commentators, oh, what's the opposite of curse? Blessing. So Gunmie then, he has been looking a little bit more impatient than the others in this quartet, and I'm sure he'll want to try and eat into that gap.
The interesting thing about Furusato's lap time there, though, is it's a 2:13 as we see Mie go way wide down there into turn 6. He might as well have been in the long lap penalty lane there, but Furusato's lap time, a 2:13. For some perspective, he put in 2:10s yesterday. 3 seconds slower than we were yesterday, and that's got to be purely because of the wind out on track, and also the surface as well, blowing dust and who knows whatever else out on track as well.
And it's also impressive to be sort of the guinea pig in some ways when you are at the front. Not quite as extreme in these kind of conditions when it's just a little bit different to yesterday, but certainly when you have rain or mixed conditions, you're the person going through there first. And after that great start and getting ahead of the field again today, he's having to judge how much to push, and maybe he isn't quite pushing as hard as yesterday, looking and seeing that he still does have that gap, playing it a little safer. Maybe that's why we saw him turn his head, because he's just trying to stay a little bit more in his comfort zone.
Yeah, could well be, and well, that's bad news for everyone else if that's Furusato's comfort zone, because he's still way out in front.
Especially when the next 2 races are also at Furusato's greatest track.
Yeah, quite. Could be a very good couple of weeks of Furusato. He's going to have to, I hope he's booked some extra luggage space to get all those trophies home to Japan.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen 4 in a row, actually. I know it's quite early to say that before we've even had the second one, but if he did do the quadruple, because actually maybe not in a row, but Jan Onju might have won 4 at Sepang in one season. Certainly won 2 or 3 of 4. But yeah, it's real domination from Furusato, and yeah, with round 2 also here, great news for him. But yeah, they're really giving it some now, aren't they?
Hamada around the outside, characteristically so strong in that turn 1. He was yesterday as well, just able to hook that tyre up and send it around the outside of everybody there. And who was that? He actually went around the outside. I think it was Daniel Sharil. He just said, nah, I'll take that space off you, thank you very much. But keeping an eye on these gaps then, 3.1 seconds it is up to Furusato now. And look at that, just behind them, the likes of Wakamatsu and Carter Thompson on the hunt with Hamada in this group as well. Yeah,
they're on the way, aren't they? You can see visually that gap getting a little bit smaller, even just on TV without looking at the timing screens. But yeah, Sharil just returned the favour against Hamada there as well. So that battle is very much still raging. Gunmei a little tiny bit ahead of those guys, but nothing too serious. And yeah, start the Jaws music a little bit for whoever's at the back of this first quartet here, because those guys are most definitely on their way.
What sort of lap times are we putting in here? Well, it looks like Furusato, he is the only rider in the 2:13s. Everybody else 2:14s. And yes, as you rightly point out, Fran, Wakamatsu, the number 2 there, closing in on the Danish, the rider at the back of that quartet ahead of them. So I would say by the time we get to turn 1, once again, this group of 4 could be a group of 8.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? And Wakamatsu not getting too bothered either at the moment. Maybe Thompson and the guys just behind him have seen, like, hey, we're actually catching that group. Now's not the time for us to have our battle. Certainly Wakamatsu at the front of it is able to make some gains, although you see there in that split, lost a couple of tenths again, but it is overall now 4 tenths off compared to when they started this lap, and getting closer and closer means that slipstream will help them as well. So that'll be interesting, I think, next time over the line. We'll see if it's from a squabble ahead or if they're really making some serious gains.
This is why I really wish I paid more attention to my physics and aerodynamic classes, and we can do some actual proper scientific calculations of what's possible here down the start and finish straight in Qatar. It looks like they probably won't catch them this time around down into turn 1, so clearly I did skip way too many classes of those, but it's Sharil who looks as though he's going to be heading down into turn 1 in first place. But will Hamada do his characteristically superb outbraking manoeuvres in there? Yes, he does. Sharil tries the cut back, but not quite close enough this time, so Hamada now into second place, and Mie, who, well, he's nearly at the back of this group now, just got Danish just behind him there, looking around the outside as they flick into turn 3.
Yeah, Hamada really, really impressive through turn 1, and was last year as well. Like you say, I remember that quite clearly. He just seems to just be so confident with it as well. And it's round the other parts of the lap where he's getting picked off a little bit, but into turn 1 you can be sure he will be pushing to the absolute limit. And able to pull off some pretty impressive stuff there as well. So I'm not sure about this gap. I think it's come down again. Oh, that is quite optimistic to go for that. That, I believe, is exactly where the incident happened yesterday as well, wasn't it? Yeah. So they're all getting a little bit messy in the background, but they are definitely making gains. So yeah, we'll have to see. But these guys squabbling so much is definitely helping the chasing group.
Yeah, what is the gap coming around this sort of split now? Wakamatsu 6 tenths behind Hamada now, so it really is on this chase as Mie probably gets whiff of what's going on behind him, puts it up the inside of Daniel Sharil, now on the chase of Danish, who has quietly made it to the front of this group, the number 13. So he'll be very happy with that at the moment. And does that mean, wait, no, Aditama of course crashed out, so it's not exactly the same order that we started with on the grid. But look at this then, so as Aditama's got another DNF, well, Wakamatsu for now, touching wood, touching my head, he is still on track and on the chase for this second place group.
Yeah, very much. I'll have to see the gap next time they reach the end of a sector, but you can see it just getting closer and closer. Wakamatsu as well has a little bit of clear air behind him. All you can see as well was that, looking over his shoulder.
Mie just absolutely chops the nose off Danish.
For that, has
but Danish doesn't want to let him go around the outside there on the bit of a cutback, so he'll be in the slipstream this time around. But who will get the run down towards turn 1 this time around? You can see the dust from that part of the circuit as well, not quite as well used down this start and finish straight. Neck and neck across the line, Sharil getting a bit close to the rear wheel there of somebody. Wow, 4 abreast. Is it going to be 5 abreast with Wakamatsu? He's really onto the back of this group now. So it is 8 riders in this group battling for second place this time around. Ah, what a shame. Lacan, Thanakorn, the Thai rider has gone down there. Is that turn 16 as well? I think it could be.
Yeah, that's a bit of a heartbreaker because, the Thai rookie,
lost it
that's
so
quite
early.
Yeah. He had a pretty good race yesterday, heading up that massive freight train. Was it the 3rd group, 4th group? But, they were fighting for top 10 positions and a solid performance, so you'd be disappointed with that. But at least got some data from it, if nothing else, and up and okay. Well, I want to see that group now. We've got a group of 8 riders. Let's go back. Here we go then.
Oh, blimey, there's all sorts of backing it in going in. That was Daniel Sharil even, who was getting all sorts of sideways in that group. So what sort of shuffling have we seen here then? Hamada leads this one from Danish, and then, well, they've almost made a little tiny break from, who's that in the background there? I think it was actually Daniel Sharil. But
it's hard to tell when they're like 7 abreast and just all
it
going
is
for
Daniel
it.
Sharil.
It is, yeah. So he's got back up to the local Qatari rider. Then Yusuf Al-Darwish sadly crashed out as well. But okay, that's for Asato just in his own postcode at the front. Thought it might have been a replay.
The gap
but
now 5.4 seconds.
Yeah, he's really got his hammer down. There we go then. That must be Yusuf Al-Darwish and up and okay, which again is always the main thing. But yeah, these guys then, Hamada's really pulled the pin there. They've managed to make a little bit of clear air. And it was also interesting down the main straight. You could see Wakamatsu knew how much closer they were, and they really followed the line of the 4 ahead of them. And this is the result. Some really feisty, classic freight train ATC action now.
Yeah, speaking of Rei Wakamatsu, there he is with the back trio of this now huge group all fighting for second place, all well and truly in that slipstream zone, coming down the start and finish straight this time around. 7 laps to go, it currently is, and as Furusato crosses the line, it will be 6 laps to go. More than halfway distance in this second Asia Talent Cup race of round 1 here at Qatar, the second of 4 races that we have here at the Losail International Circuit. And how about this? How many riders do you want abreast? Down into turn 1, Gun Mie leading the charge in there. And what about Hamada? Is he going to go around the outside again? He's trying it, but no, he couldn't carry that enough speed that time around. But it's Daniel Sharil who is second in this group now as well.
Yeah, I'm quite interested as well. We've seen Furusato takes a really, really wide line through there, and we've not seen many of the other guys copy it too much, which is interesting because he is the fastest guy demonstrably today and yesterday, obviously, complete domination.
Ooh, a bit of elbow barging back there, Fran.
That's a little bit feisty. But yeah, you thought maybe they'd be playing about a little bit more with that after watching yesterday's race back, which I'm sure they have. But yeah, it's a good fight this now. I'm sure there'll be more fireworks down here. Hold on to your hats.
This is the oh-so-famous camera crane. They've got these close-up shots on the inside of turn 6. They're absolutely superb. You can see how close they all are together. And Fran, once again, I'd like to say thank you to the riders for all choosing relatively different helmet designs. It really helps the commentary.
Yeah, definitely. When you have a cup like the Asia Talent Cup, obviously bikes are the same, all sponsors' equipment's the same. It can get quite confusing / challenging for us up here. But yeah, a lot easier with this group. Yeah, good split of different designs.
I'm really enjoying Kanta Hamada's riding style, as always, quintessentially old-school Japanese style. And just behind him, number 6, Carter Thompson. He's got a bit of a Max Biaggi-esque keeping his head behind the screen there. Very, very tidy indeed. We're maybe getting to the point we could distinguish riders from their riding style alone. And of course, no mistake in Daniel Sharil this time around, because since we last saw him racing, we mentioned yesterday, he's grown quite a bit too, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a little while, hasn't it? I think earlier you said 18 months and then said it was the last race of 2018. Didn't mention it at the time. It's a little bit longer than that.
Who knows how long it's been
Time
now.
doesn't exist anymore.
It's a global pandemic.
But yeah, it is. You can definitely see the difference in Daniel Sharil. Obviously now he's 18, oldest rider in the field, but still very much a spring chicken. And it's just great to see him back up there and see him, despite that recovery, having grown a bit. It's been a while, still well in this fight and got some good pace.
They are seemingly dispatching riders behind them. That would be Sharil, who's hanging off the back there, and Hongo as well in 9th place. So those guys have fallen out of that slipstream zone. What can they do over the following sectors through the sweeping corners to try and claw their way back onto this group now? Otherwise, it could just be a battle of 6 riders for the second position. Carter Thompson looking up the inside there of Danish, who's gone way wide at turn 2 there. In towards turn 3. Is Carter Thompson going to lead through turn 3? Yes, he is. That was, you do not want to be going on that dirty part of the track, do you?
You don't, but it was nicely collected there by the number 13 of Hakim Danish. Managed to slot back in. He's lost out a little bit more now, which you will do when you've lost that momentum. But yeah, a little bit wide from him. We've not really seen many mistakes from him, despite obviously him just coming in and making his debut. So, at least he is human, the other rookies will be thinking. But yeah, Hamada then having a look at it. Even round turn 1 last time around, I thought he was going to try and do everyone round the outside. So he really does seem to be on the attack here.
Yeah, when you Kanta Hamada, you just absolutely go for it. Lick the stamp and send it, as it were. As some people would say. Carter Thompson, though, leading this battle for second at the moment. And they have all caught up to each other again. So Sharil and Hongo on the back of this group once again. That's Rei Wakamatsu just in front of them. Nice, relatively clean racing at the moment. Just seen a few sort of elbow barges here and there, but nothing too sinister as they come through turn 11, tipping it into this triple right-hander of 12, 13 and 14. 5 laps to go at the moment, and it's nearly crunch time in this race. If you're going to try and make a break from the group, now is the time to do it, but I think that's highly unlikely, frankly.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any breakaways in these guys. They're all closer than ever now. And yeah, Carter Thompson leading that group, but Hamada looking like he really wants to get past him, and Danish as well. They're getting feisty again, recovered from that
inside line for Carter Thompson there, just chopping the noses off of both Gun Mie and Kanta Hamada. All sorts of different lines going on there. It looks like Hamada got a much better drive than Gun Mie out of the final corner then, but what about the slipstream? The guy's getting incredibly close to the AstroTurf on the inside line. Who's that? Daniel Sharil weaving all around. Who's going to cross the line first? first around. This time it's going to be, well, Thompson, then Hamada, then Shiril, then Wakamatsu, a main beneficiary of that, and just 8 abreast into turn 1. Wakamatsu absolutely does them all into turn 1. Wow, where did he come from?
Yeah,
well,
just going to hold my breath for a second there. Yeah, that slipstream really opened that door wide open for Rei Wakamatsu, didn't it? So he's now at the head of this group. Pretty interesting as well. It seems to be taking a little bit longer for those guys to feel that slipstream down the straight. Maybe today is not the day to try and depend on making such a big gain out the final corner when it comes to the line. You know what I mean? Maybe they've not got as much time as they think today to play that game of just tuck in out the final corner and gun it to the line.
Well, this guy's certainly got a lot of time to play with. Tayo Furusato, beautiful slow motion shots here coming into turn 1, shifting down the gears in there. But yeah, really great to see him just, well, still, they're actually going to have to phone the dictionary up and just insert his name underneath the word demolition, because that's nothing else to describe what he's doing here in Qatar.
Yeah, it's been 2 really impressive performances from him. So back with these guys then, we've got Wakamatsu still at the front. Kanta Hamada must be getting a little bit more frustrated every time it's someone different ahead of him. But yeah, really great battle here still, and like you said, we've got them all close together. Those stragglers are back in this group, and yeah, it's been a couple of laps now. I think this might go all the way to the end now.
Yeah, really, really could, although Wakamatsu's got himself a little bit of breathing space at the front of that with Hamada
wait for the
on
front
the hunt there.
straight,
but
though.
yes, let's wait for that front straight, because he's by no means out of the danger zone. Oh, that was a big twitch for, I think, Carter Thompson coming out of that corner there. He's got Gun Mie in his wake, along with Daniel Shiril, who has been all sorts of sort of wiggly all over the place there. Right, this is turn 16, the final corner of the circuit. Who's going to get the best run out of it this time around? Rei Wakamatsu, I should say, absolutely nailed it last time around, but who's going to get it sorted this time? Could it be Hongo coming from all the towards the back? They're going to be pulling out the slipstream. 8 abreast once again, will it be?
Yeah, it's a good group there, but you can see Wakamatsu then, no one was able to get any closer by the line, and yeah, I think he's going to hold on to it, as they certainly don't make their lives any easier in that shuffle. Oh, got to be careful, guys. Lots of chopping and changing now, but everyone's safely through, and it's Danish then now who takes over on Wakamatsu's tail. But yeah, Wakamatsu still came out of that start-finish straight ahead, so if he's able to see that, take a quick look back and realise that he managed to keep it quite so comfortably over the line, that's good news if he wants to try just keeping this position out of the final corner on the final lap.
Hakim Danish definitely the main beneficiary of the straight that time around, now breathing down the neck of Rei Wakamatsu into this one. This is turn 6, where it all came undone for Wakamatsu yesterday, actually, but fortunately no such trouble this time around. Here's a replay of turn 1, what happened this time around. Wakamatsu leading the charge into there. Hamada looking for that outside line, you suspect, where he is so strong, but no room at the end for that. He's sandwiched well and truly on the inside by both Daniel Shiril and Carter Thompson there, the Australian rider. Who was that going around the outside? I think that was Gun Mie, sending it a little bit wide.
Yeah, you can see how close these guys get. The slow-mo's really impressive, isn't it? Just get to see it in such detail. But here we are then, back on the fast mo, because they are going pretty quick, these guys. It's not hanging about. Despite the fact that Furusato, wow, it's now 9.4 seconds last time around.
He's still setting the fastest laps of the race so far. Only one other rider was able to put a 2:14 in last time around. That was Rei Wakamatsu, but he was still half a second slower than Furusato. Just the pace here is searing like the heat was yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Rei Wakamatsu as well, like we said, not getting too bothered at the front of this group. That obviously paid off in, yeah, not losing too much time to the squabble. But, I don't know, there's getting a little bit racy here now, and you can see there's another little bit of a gap back to Shiril and Hongo again. So maybe it's just, I was going to say it's costing them more. It's very Spanglish. It's obviously just a little bit harder for them to stay on these guys here who are fighting it out for second.
Well, 2 laps to go then, penultimate one here, and look at that, Rei Wakamatsu all the way round the outside of the riders on the inside there. That was Gun Mie and Carter Thompson, I think. Oh, a bit of shoving there on Hakim Danish too. What about that? Who really lost out coming towards into turn 2? Who will get the cut back onto turn 3? Rei Wakamatsu holding relatively firm at the front of this battle here, but he won't want to lead out the final corner, that is for sure, unless he can absolutely nail
today.
that drag to the line.
Yeah, he did have a little bit more time in hand last time though, when we saw no one able to quite catch him by the line. But yeah, they're getting a bit feisty now. Are they aware there's still one more lap after this one? Yeah,
I would hope so, but it is allowing Sharil to cling onto the back once again, just by the mere coattails of the rider in front of him. That is actually at the moment who is that on the back? Oh, it was Carter Thompson. Then I got confused by the timing screen saying it was Daniel Sharil. But here we are then, 1.5 laps left to go. Gun Mie in the driving seat, going gun-ho once again with Rei Wakamatsu, fellow countryman behind him, as well as Kanta Hamada as well. Will the Malaysians spoil it? Well, not if Danish is going to be having moments like that round every corner. A big front-end twitch. I wonder whether that was anything to do with a gust of wind.
Yeah, possibly looked like a sudden little twitch there, didn't it? But yeah, could be on for then an all-Japanese podium if these guys stay at the head of this second group, which yeah, we've seen that a few times in the ATC, but I'm sure Danish will be wanting to get up there and make sure the Malaysian flag gets back on the rostrum.
Yeah, the future of Japanese motorcycle racing is definitely signed, sealed and delivered with such talents coming through, like this Furusato as well. I mean, well, we don't have to talk any more about the Moto3 World Championship and the riders there, but it's looking very, very good indeed. On the run down to the final corner for the penultimate time. Next time around, well, who will be leading into it? Who will be leading out of it? And who will get mugged at the line? It's Gun Mie leading out of the final corner this time around with Wakamatsu in his wake. Hamada just behind. This is Furusato, a huge lead once again, not quite as strong as yesterday, and that was still a very impressive lap time indeed. 2:14.8 for him. 2:14.4 for Gun Mie behind, but Furusato's long gone. Into the first turn we have then, and it is Wakamatsu leading the way from Mie.
Yeah, it is. So pretty much as you were almost after that front straight again. So this is it now. This is the last lap. I'm sure we'll see a nice little battle like we always get in the ATC. As long as we keep it clean, it's weapons free now.
Yeah, well, Japanese 1, 2, 3 in this battle for second. You've got Danish just behind them. He wants podium delight once again. He would have absolutely loved that yesterday, beaming as he was counting sheep to go to sleep last night, no doubt. But it's, well, all manoeuvres round turns 4 and 5. This is a key overtaking spot coming up. Turn 6, where the long lap penalty lane is here. Came undone for Wakamatsu last time. This time he's safe, fortunately, and Daniel Sharil making a good move up the inside of Carter Thompson there.
Yeah, so far actually nothing too feisty. Here we have Furusato then, nothing at all bothering him, just out for a nice Sunday ride. But yeah, that battle for second, I think that final corner, we're going to have to keep a very strong eye on the drama that may unfold. We've seen it before, but yeah, at the moment, Wakamatsu looking pretty comfortable. We can see Mie then, he's got back ahead of Hamada, but these four looking solid in the fight for second.
How much attention have they been paying down the start and finish straight? What is the prime position they want to be in coming out that final corner? Another moment for Hakim Danish there as he was coming out of turn 10 in towards turn 11. A little bit of daylight for the Japanese triplet just up here, the trio in the driving seats for that second place. Just a few more corners to go now. This is the third of that triple right-hander. Then it's the left and the run to turn 16.
It is, yeah, so we're going to have to see. I think it is going to end up as a run to the line, but we'll have to see how many fireworks we get at that final corner to decide who has the momentum.
Well, for one more possible overtaking move into a corner, Rei Wakamatsu defending his line perfectly, but does he want to be leading out of this one? How much can he nail it? But you can't take anything away from Furusato. He does the double here at round 1 of the Asia Talent Cup, but who will get to the line first? Wakamatsu in the lead at the moment. Will he be Mie, or will it be Danish? Oh, it could be. It is, I think. Is it? No, it's Hamada. Hamada takes it from Danish. How about that? So, as I said, Wakamatsu, you don't want to be leading out of the final corner.
Yeah,
Someone get him an earpiece.
I take it back. They just had enough time, didn't they? Just before the line, they just made that swoosh past. Bit of a heartbreaker for Wakamatsu and Mie, but great race from this guy and great fight for the podium with Kanta Hamada back on the box, and Danish again doing the miracles.
Absolutely superb stuff from the Malaysian. Thank you very much, Fran, as you head towards the podium once again. Furusato, well, just looking as much at ease right now on the cool-down lap as he was previously. Not too many people to be waving at the moment either. Some marshals and cameramen who I'm sure will be cheering him on as well. What a performance that was from Taiyo Furusato. Absolute domination here, and that is a big statement to make here at the opening round. A lot of these guys, well, they might be a bit happier than they were yesterday with their respective results. This is one man who will be a Kanta Hamada, a second place last year along with a win. That's a much improved result on yesterday. A reminder, he actually finished in 6th yesterday. Still just off that second group for that second place, 4 seconds off a podium. But that is much better from the number 8. Wow, what a race. What a way to get your heart pumping here on race day. The first one of the 2021 Grand Prix season. Coming up next, of course, if you are watching on one of the channels where it seamlessly switches to the warm-up sessions, Moto3 warm-up coming your way very shortly. Don't go anywhere. Probably got some time to put some toast on or have a cup of tea, cup of coffee. Getting ready for all this. There's Hakim Danish. Well, Malaysia has another possible future star then in that number 13, because I tell you what, one of their former future stars is still a future star in Daniel Sharil. That is another great performance from him. Just finishing there in 6th place behind Gunmie and Wakamatsu. Both of them mugged at the line by Kanta Hamada and Hakim Danish. So only 2 riders managed to stay on the podium twice here in these first 2 races. That is your winner, Taiyo Furusato, and then Hakim Danish. I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty from the Sepang Racing team coming down to congratulate him once again. And look at the dust coming off on the inside line. I mean, in these warm-up sessions, the Grand Prix rider's going to have to be careful. Here's that replay then from the run to the line. Wakamatsu, Mie swerved to, well, I guess put each other off, and little did they know, Kanta Hamada absolutely nailed it along with Danish. So superb stuff from them. That was a bit of a tactical masterclass. Really, really well done. He'll be dead chuffed with that. Well, 9 seconds ahead at the finish line, and about the same gap coming into Parc Ferme itself. Here's Taiyo Furusato. Surely one for both Alberto Puig and Hiroshi Oyama to be keeping their eye on. In Parc Ferme, they're ready to congratulate him. A rider definitely to keep an eye on throughout this year. What can he do going on? I mean, we've seen such domination in years gone by from other riders. Will we see something similar this year? All the other competitors will surely hope not be keeping him in check. They've definitely got their work cut out, that is for sure. That is Kanta Hamada then, more than used to being in a Parc Ferme position here at the Losail International Circuit. I do have a marked concern for some of these rather small children with the wind getting blown away. But fortunately, all okay. The number 8 then in Parc Ferme. What is this replay going to be? Of the, well, you can keep an eye on the number 8, the unmistakable yellow helmet. Just pulling out then to the left. Perfect. Well, it was almost an evasive manoeuvre to avoid the back wheel, I suppose. Wow, look at that. The photo finish. It makes it look a lot further apart than it actually was. But really superb stuff, that. That's why we all love the Asia Talent Cup. That's why we all tune in on these Sunday afternoons. See some close racing, and these are the stars of the future, and I'm surprised I don't get more starstruck talking to such big names in the sport, such as Hiroshi Oyama, the last ever 250cc world champion, and Alberto Puig, team boss of HRC, former Grand Prix rider, race winner, etc. himself as well. Really do have everything they need to kickstart their Grand Prix careers. A reminder, of course, that the winners and the best riders from the Asia Talent Cup do actually get places to go, move over to Europe and compete in championships such as the European Talent Cup. Best of those riders do move up into the Moto3 Junior World Championship as well, joining such Road to MotoGP program teams as the likes of the Honda Team Asia squad. Hiroshi Oyama is team boss. And yes, definitely get cared for and catered for brought up to be the Grand Prix stars of tomorrow. Time for the photo then. It's not just learning how to win races and everything like that these guys have to get used to. It's everything else as well, all the media duties. Here are the final results then. 9 seconds ahead this time for Tayo Furusato as he takes the win here. 31 minutes the winning race time as well. Kanta Hamada across the line then with Hakim Danish just behind him in third place there. Rei Wakamatsu and Gun Mie, well, they have another crack at it here again next week, and 4th and 5th for them. For Daniel Sharil, once again, welcome back to action to the Malaysian. From Carter Thompson just behind him there. Sharil and Hongo, the Japanese rider, just behind in 9th place. Nicholas, who had a big moment, I think, in the early stages of the race. 10th place from Dandy, Fujita, Drain, Bwapa, Tubtimon. Just 3 non-finishers this time around. Fadila Aditama, the Indonesian rider, definitely got to keep an eye out for him, because next time around, so long as he manages to stay on the bike, you can guarantee he'll be up fighting towards the front end as well. Very impressive stuff in the pre-season testing campaign for him. And here are then the championship standings heading into round 2 next weekend. 50 points. Clean streak for Tayo Furusato. Kim Dinesh, well-deserved, understandable 2nd place from Gun Mie and Kanta Hamada. Carter Thompson then moves down a place from yesterday. As you can hear in the background, riders getting ready for the podium positions. So Hakim Dinesh, 3rd place for him in this one, the Malaysian rider, stopping a Japanese washout of the podium. As Fran says, welcome back to Kanta Hamada. Onto the podium then. And once again, Tayo Furusato here. Top step of the podium once again. Almost a mere formality today after yesterday's demolition derby for him. You can almost see the smile underneath the face mask as well. Epic, epic stuff. Presenting the trophies once again, I believe, will be Hiroshi Oyama, a possible future team boss for some of these riders. Kim Dinesh, another rider perhaps who will need to book some more luggage space on his flight home after this. Kanta Hamada, another trophy for him, welcome back. Tayo Furusato lifts that trophy high and proud above his head. And once again, we'll be hearing the Japanese national anthem here in Losail. Well then, how about that? Next race, Doha, Qatar, April 3rd, 4:35 local time. Just a few days' time, in fact. Here are the highlights then. Well, if Hakim Danish was going to bed thinking about nailing his start, well, he absolutely did that time. The initial jump off the line was actually pretty good from Aditama, but no one had an answer for Furusato, who took off from the line in first place. That was the only time he was really troubled for the lead. Adios, amigos. See you later. See you in Parc Ferme once again. An absolutely dominant performance by the Japanese rider. Battle behind raged on. First of all, it was a quartet, then it merged back into 8 riders battling for that 2nd position. That was Rei Wakamatsu round the outside into that turn 1. A really, really excellent job from him as well. All until that final corner, unfortunately. But it was just non-stop action in the Asia Talent Cup, as we're so used to. Not that we're becoming desensitised to it, of course. It was still about the Japanese trio towards these final laps. But the ever-threatening Hakim Danish waiting patiently for a moment to strike, coming onto the front straight. This was the final corner and the run out of turn 16 onto the start and finish straight. Tayo Furusato just dominant here in Qatar. What a performance. Only 6 days to wait before we go racing once again in the Asia Talent Cup. Oh my goodness me, it is good to be back. See you next week for once again round 2 of the Asia Talent Cup.